As winter draws closer, we have a lot of preparation that needs to be done. We are harvesting all of our squash and pumpkins. We need to add end walls to our caterpillar tunnel, and our meat birds are coming in just a short amount of time, so we need to prep for them as well.
Last week I noticed that my squash and pumpkin vines, they completely died from the squash bugs, but I was in the middle of 2 different preserving projects that I really needed to wrap up. So I was like, I'll just get to those later. I was looking at them yesterday and then kind of freaking out. Like I waited a little bit too long because a lot of the squash are like kind of squishy now because we had a big heat wave during that time and there was no vines to cover anything. So that was my bad. I'm gonna go out and salvage what I can. There's still a lot of good butternut squash and pumpkins, but the rest will go to the pigs. I think the squishy ones are the ones that just didn't mature all the way anyway before the squash vine died, so they were just gonna go to the pigs either way. We brought in all of the pumpkins. These are Long Island cheese pumpkins and honey patch squash, and then there's more pumpkins in the back. These are all curing here on the counter. Luckily we have a lot of counter space to be able to do that. And the pumpkins take a lot longer to cure because of their larger size. The honey patch squash, it's practically already cured, and we have been eating some of that already. The other thing that I wanted to do with this is I want to weigh it all because we like to compare our yields year over year. So I'm going to go ahead and weigh all of these pumpkins and the squash. I just finished up weighing all the pumpkins. We have 214 pounds of Long Island cheese pumpkins, and for the honey patch squash, 38 pounds total. But I did forget I had another bowl in the kitchen, and that brought us up to 42 pounds total, plus what we already ate. I would guess that we were close to 50 pounds of edible cured squash for that this year. And then for the pumpkins and the squash, I estimated that we sent about 125 pounds of food to our pigs. That was everything that wasn't cured yet or wasn't good, which is also very useful for us, and it saves money because we don't have to buy as much food for our pigs. Pumpkins are one thing that I grow every other year, so this amount, it is a lot of pumpkin, and we will just preserve this and it will last us 2 years. And so next year I will not have to worry about growing pumpkins and can save that space.
I'm standing right in front of our older tunnel. We took the old doors off. They were more just plastic flaps that were just kind of getting ruined because of the wind and everything. So we took those off earlier this summer, and it actually worked out kind of nice because it allowed for good ventilation. It's getting colder, and so we ordered some new like kind of roll-up doors. So I'm gonna put those on today.
We put up our high tunnel after this one, and it has the Dutch doors on it. Once we got those on, we realized we were really missing out by not having good end walls. So we definitely needed to update the caterpillar tunnel end walls, and we went with a different option for this one. It's a little bit more budget friendly. It's the double zipper end walls.
I need you to go into my shop and go get the head that fits that. It's small. It's smaller than this. Okay.
What are these?
Peanut butter. Peanut butter for our mouse traps.
Oh my gosh.
We're doing that too while we build this. We're gonna have a mouse and a vole problem in the garden. I sent Dax back to get a new bit because this one is too big for the screws, but I didn't realize till now. Well, I knew it before, I just forgot that this, like usually kind of the default bit there is a 1/4 inch, and that's what we need. So that's what we're going with, or maybe not 1/4 inch, but whatever it is, it's the right one. And here's your screws. You'll need 4 of them, maybe 5. Yep, good. That's how it's done. Cool. This then go right there. Same in that end. is your board lined up with that black line on the bottom? Line it up.
That is, it's 90 inches.
90 inches exactly?
Yeah.
Okay.
That looks
Pretty good. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's good. Now take this cap, put that in there. With the hammer. You're gonna need the hammer. Just put it on there centered, and then, yep. Okay, that's good. That's good. You're out. Here, I'll get mine anchored. Okay. I'm still like, I'm 2 inches. Alright. And then we'll get yours. My mom and dad are in town for a few days, so that means a bit of extra help for our projects. My dad is definitely a project guy and likes to stay busy, and so do I. I think he takes after me in that regard. So he's always chomping at the bit, asking me, what can I help you with? What can I help you with? So this was a perfect project to do together. I am kind of stubborn and independent, so I will typically just start a project and do it myself until it's done, when I really should be asking for help, whether it's from my dad when he's in town or friends and neighbors and things like that. Anyway, I realized with this, it was super fun to have him, very handy to have an extra hand to hold boards and tarps and stuff like that. So we really had a good time and enjoyed our time together and got the doors done quite quickly.
Our meat chickens are coming tomorrow, and we have a ton of stuff to do before they get here. We are moving them into the garden in an area where our cover crops were. I have the sorghum sudan grass and cowpeas. Cam mowed this down about a month ago, and it's grown back up again, so I need to mow it again before the chickens get here. I'm excited that it is grown back up again, because that means there's just that much more organic matter that's going to be in the soil, and then the chickens are going to come through and fertilize everything. I've got buckwheat right next to it that also needs to be flail mowed. It's gone to seed, but that's okay if the seeds sprout again, because they will die with the frost. So we're doing that as well. And then Cam and the kids are going to move the chicken tractor into place, and they have some fixes to do on the chicken tractor as well before the chickens get here. And then we have to get everything set up, like the food and the water, and then we'll be ready to go.
I'm just taking this out to lighten the load.
Okay.
So we are moving less.
Yeah.
You just...
What should I do?
You're fine. Just go, keep going.
Put it here and then...
Yeah, put it there, and then we'll just pivot. It's covering, but it's just brittle.
I just came back from picking up chicks from the post office. They came early this morning. We'll unload them in a box in the house for right now, because it's pretty cold outside right now. It's like 45 degrees. And instead of just immediately transferring them outside like we usually do, I'm going to give them a chance to kind of get acclimated and settle a bit before we put them outside.
There's a couple things we need to do to repair the chicken tractor. We need to take the old panels off and put new ones on. So that's the first job. And then, oh, that's a cool plane. The pole handles that we used to like lift and move it, those need replaced. I have the hardware for that, so that's one job. And then the other job is just assess like if there's wood panels structurally that need just refastened, or, you know, because over time the screws get loose and stuff like that. We're getting rid of the plastic because over 3 years' time it is deteriorated and is falling apart. We're replacing that with galvanized because it's going to last longer. It's not that much heavier. It's really what we should have done in the beginning, but we tend to not do things right the first time. This was just a bad piece anyways, we can replace. Okay, 10 wide.
I think it's 10 by 12.
Yeah, 12 and a little more.
One of the things that took us by surprise with homesteading is how often infrastructure needs to be either replaced, updated, or just needs general maintenance. You saw the tunnel and walls. That was one of those things that worked for a time, but then it needed to be updated. And the same for this broiler shelter. It worked for a couple of years, but with the use and with weather, it needs new panels, the screws need tightened, and the wood needs to be replaced in a couple of areas.
So I just cut these, take one of these and put it behind here, kind of a gap filler.
Getting it to come
If we flip it over like this, both ends are facing down. And that's what we want. And we'll do a better job this time of doing these like not to the edge.
Throughout all the years we've had chicken tractors, we've learned a lot about what works and what doesn't. And I think the biggest tip I could give anyone building one would be to never use staples. We used them initially on this tractor and on our A-frame tractors to secure the hardware mesh. And we were constantly fixing it and adding more staples because when the chicken tractors move, those are the first things to fall out and get ripped out. So we finally wised up and we started to use these metal roofing screws with the washers on the A-frame tractors. And now that we're updating this broiler shelter, we are replacing all of the staples and holding in the hardware mesh with the roofing screws.
Or we'd say like, no. I don't want to go like that, because that leaves an opening.
Yeah.
Before, I think we just wrapped it like this.
The reason that we raise broilers this time of year is because, for one, we have more time, but the biggest thing is we have noticed that when broilers get big, they hate the heat, and our summers get so hot. So we like to raise them going into fall and winter. It's more comfortable for the birds, and it's more comfortable for us when it comes time to butcher them.
Thumbs up.
The other thing is that the chicks are more resilient to the cold than I initially thought. Every year that we've done this, we haven't had any problems with the cold. The only problems that we have are when we have cold plus rain. So with our dry weather right now, we've gone through 2 frosts and we've lost no chicks at all to the cold. We just put a heating plate out there for them to go under when it's cold. They all snuggle up together because we have 75 birds and there is no problem at all.
We're almost done with the chicken tractor. Cam has one more piece that he needs to cut of the steel.
So I'm gonna go cut that, and while I'm doing that, the kids are gonna bring the chicks out and put them in their new home.
Is this the chickmobile?
A little chicken taxi.
Yeah.
I like so small.
The chicks are always happy to get outside, and I am happy that they are adding fertilizer right into my garden for next year. When they are small, we move them less often, but as they get bigger, we'll move the tractor every single day so that they can have a fresh area of the garden to be able to dig through and fertilize.